I'm that girl who is so old. She had to use the calculator to figure out her age. True story, just did it. So, why was I trying to recall my age, you may ask? Well, a fun, well, not a fun thing, but I guess it is. But something that has sort of had this underlining sort of question reluctance to explore with the interns is this sort of assumption that they've just left high school, they're just about to finish their newspaper run, and then they're going to do a course and then be interns. And that could be valid, totally could be. But beyond being judgmental, when I started doing this, I was well into my 40s. And while my other sort of parts of my life about, I'd spent sort of most of my life career-wise being different types of potters and painters and photographers and things like that. That's what I sort of really love to focus a lot of my time and effort, energy into, as being creative. So, and I just also, I started getting really involved in like varsity, and I just loved learning about stuff, even though I found it really hard being dyslexic to kind of do all of the like essays and stuff. But once I actually mastered how to do that, then yay for me, empowerment, blah, 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 me, but you, this is about you. So, you know, oh, I sort of feel like they're saying, well, you did study religion. And I was like, yeah, but it didn't feel like it was about interest. And it was more about the culture of the religion and the arts, and the fact that a lot of people in history were never taught reading and writing. It was for only certain sort of privileged people. So most people didn't learn it. So people were to read the imagery in art. Now, and I've had these fantastic conversations with art historians as well about when we actually interpret and read the art without knowing the storyline behind things, it gets very interesting and very revealing. Love that, right? So anyway, death, dying religion's been very interesting to me, and I really did appreciate exploring all the different ways the religions were doing this and all that sort of stuff. So I guess, I wasn't a complete novice, and then I did a project where I interviewed 77 icons of history who'd passed, and that's where I met Dolores this lifetime, and called them in through a channeler, and she channeled them through her to share with me my very curious questions. So that's sort of about the much of sort of like metaphysics that I'd sort of like dabbled my fingers into, and then I started doing the course. And so the thing that I did, they really wanted me to talk about me, and me being an intern. Imagine that. So, I still had quite a bit of fear in me, quite a bit of limited perspective, a lot of limited perspectives. But I was feeling like the truth and information and wisdom was attainable. And I just keep seeing these ways and these pathways to be able to actually find Mr. Subconscious, who's feeling very scholarly today for an interesting reason. So to get to him, just like it is to get to your subconsciouses, we have to respect them, we have to trust them, and we have to understand how they're really within us while still being busy in their own fantastic lives. So, that's a journey within itself. So for me as an intern, I was reading everything by the script with QHHT, and I really like these sessions can take 6, 7, 8 hours easy when you're doing face-to-face sessions and the person doesn't know you, and you've got to sort of listen to their full life story and hear them without judgment or opinions or even solutions or answers, and just hold space for them as you're listening and you're just asking questions to your client. It's all you're wanting to know is actually hear what's going on for them, hear their perspectives, hear their experiences, and hear their journey and love them for their journey. And so when I was finding anyone in my region to do a session with me, basically begging people to come and explore something fun with me, I probably wasn't really that considerate whether they really did believe in past lives, whether that was part of their religion or not. Sorry, friends. But I was just so darn eager. And I think when you are trying to learn something, you will make mistakes. It's not possible to not make mistakes because this is how you grow. And when you're so keen, sometimes you're forcing your friends to support my new hobby. So there's that. But so what I did is I reached out to a lot of the Wellington practitioners as well, and I wanted to ask them if they had anyone that wanted a free session, or if they wanted a free session. And some of them ghosted me, and some of them did respond, and I was able to have sessions with them with great gratitude, because it gets a bit nerve-wracking, and it's a lot of responsibility, especially when they're going through death scenes and really emotional things. If we're not able to master our own emotions, we could just be crying along with them. Cancel the session, we're both bawling, and it doesn't progress this situation or the session if we react as they are reacting. I mean, I have had some moments where, brutally loved ones have been murdered, and it's a big massacre and all this sort of stuff. And, you can feel what your client's going through so intensively that you have to ground. And I used to do this thing, which always seems to work, which is amazing. I just remember it today. So obviously they were preparing me for this conversation with you. If you're feeling like you're going to cry, lift up your toes. So you're standing or even sitting, and when you sort of lift up your toes, it sounds really weird, right? But with your shoes off, if you try to lift up your toes, it randomly, whether it's just distraction, but it stops the crying. And that's actually how I started learning to be able to speak my truth without crying. Because a lot of the stuff I was going through, especially when I started doing these sessions, was really full on, really intensive. So when I was trying to reach out to my friends and family and sort of say, okay, so this is what's going on, and instead of like bawling my eyes out and having a massive breakdown, I lifted my toes up so I could actually get a whole sentence of what I was feeling and thinking out. And it was quite profound, because I actually got heard. For a long, long, long time, I heard myself, and I shared with myself, shared part of myself to others, for them to hear what was going on for me, and what this journey that I was sort of stumbling across from was. So yeah, it's really good. See if you can try it. But I would recommend, sometimes if you just feel like it's a wave of emotion that's just blocking you and limiting you from expressing, pick and choose when you should use it. I find, though, sometimes we do need to cry. We do need to express. We do need to release and acknowledge, oh, I'm crying because this is bringing up a lot of emotions of this time, X, Y, and Z. And when you are crying and having a conversation with someone, that's proof. That is proof you're feeling something, and it gets their attention more. Sometimes they'll be like, I'm out, this is too awkward, don't know what to look or do or say, and now you got snot bubbles. This is when we notice other people are awkward with our feelings, we shut down our feelings. So, work with it yourselves. Anyway, so what I did with my interns, for everyone that I did sessions with as an intern, because it was a free session, I did say to them, I'm new, no, I'm not trying to hide that I've done this many times. I would state how many sessions I've done, and would say, but part of my journey is I really want to be able to do this more and be more confident with this and flow. And I just feel like, I'm still on training wheels. So if you would like to have another session with me, I will always give this to you for free, because you helped me in a really valuable time to learn and grow. And I was so honored and so touched. There's people opening up their hearts and their lives and their worlds and their achievements and their disappointments and all this stuff. And so I sort of made a promise to them that, you know, anytime that they wanted to have a session with me, I was here for it. I was here for them. And I've always honored that, because I respect that they trusted me enough to help me on something I really needed from them. So anyway, maybe for those interns who are struggling to find clients, you know, or to find clients that are motivated to trust them, when you hear that you can continually have more and more sessions to unpack the layers of the onion that is your inner work, you know, that's a beautiful deal, right? And using the key code is so important and valuable. QHHT has the key code system where you can get someone to be able to have a special key code, and when they choose time is right, and when they are having another little script put upon them to get them into that deep state of relaxation, and the keyword is used, it kind of gets the triggering of the subconscious to, yeah, it's really, the subconscious is always ready and eager to go. Allegedly. So but you need to be ready and willing to go. And when you feel like, okay, I'm deeply relaxed, yep, the subconscious is coming in, and I'm feeling that sense of saying, yes, we're here, there is that little dance or conversation and journey. So the key codes are valuable and really helpful. But then, of course, if the client feels like they want to explore other lifetimes, that is really important too. So fantastic. This work has been phenomenal for me. I have just loved and appreciated and adored my learning journey with Dolores Cannon. And, you know, I haven't read all her books. The one book I haven't read is 5 Lives Remembered, and I'm holding off on that one, and I know why. So anyway, so all of her other books are brilliant, and I have the hard copies of them all, and I cherish every single client that supported her on her journey, because she was also needing people to trust her and just go with it and just see what the information would be curious enough with her. And as she was fine-tuning this, she discovered that not only could we find cookie information of wisdom and knowledge that's just delicious and we want to just gobble it all up, she also realized how profoundly important and healing this was for her clients. Deeply healing. Like, you know, when you have like inner tissue sprain, well, we've all kind of got emotional inner tissue sprains on our hearts, on our egos. There's lots of our sprains emotionally. And as we know, hurt people will hurt people, and not necessarily on intentionally, but sometimes they will. Sometimes they're so miserable, they want others to feel their pain. Sometimes they're so focused within their own pain, they're not really realizing how much they are hurting everyone around them, because they're so focused on their own traumas, and they're potentially those broken children living now in adult bodies and still struggling. And while their traumas have never been healed or resolved, they're creating a lot more traumas as they're not able to trust others, as they're still trying to seek approval and love and praise from others. So if you're one of those sort of people that wants to tell everyone your opinion, you know, that's all fine and all. And I never really had the confidence to sort of tell people my opinion. And so when I kept hearing information from sessions from the collective's perspectives and the subconscious's perspectives, I just loved and valued that so much, because man, did I see epiphanies in those sessions, and all sessions, because the client listens back and goes, oh my God, that makes so much sense, that relationship between me and, you know, Bobby Smith. You know, of course we were you know, so and so in another lifetime, and of course this is how we are revolving around each other this lifetime. You know, sometimes when we're just scratching at the questions of why are these people so familiar? Why was that that experience so hard? Blah, 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 blah. You know, like these sessions just speed through and give us the exact perspectives we need to be able to just make peace with it and have that perspective that just gives us that inner work. Of course, there's always going to be people in this world that will never want to heal themselves, ever. You could offer them a million free sessions, go to their homes, tuck them in, handcuff them, and then try to do a session and they still wouldn't do it. Imagine that, right? So, yeah, because they don't want to take away being dramatic with their dramas, with their hurts, because they are not willing to change. They've never really wanted to change. They hate their situation, but they love complaining about their situation. So there is a win, there is a payoff. So, you know, there are so many people that we would love to support and help, but so many people are self-sabotaging their lives so determinedly, we cannot do anything to support them as they are in self-destructive mode. And in fact, sometimes when those people refuse point blankly to grow, to be responsible for their own behaviors, be responsible for their own lives, when they are not wanting to be willingly responsible for anything that they do, react, when they have no control over their emotions and no interest in controlling their emotions, then we have to question. And these are the sort of people that we want in our own personal circles, because they can be very unstable quite quickly, because they are little black holes of attention-seeking drama, right? And so, I mean, we've all been there, right? I definitely had some time when I was doing that myself, but I have to admit it was much, much younger, and it became very toxic for me, and I really was fed up with my own sort of behaviors and that sort of way of living, because it wasn't empowering me. In fact, it was actually pushing away a lot of people that I really needed in my life. So when I realized a whole lot of sort of stuff about that, I guess I have always sort of been doing my inner work without really labeling it inner work. So, you know, fun times. So what I actually want to talk about was interns, right? They're not just little kids. They're actually professional people who have had amazing life experiences and different careers. They have, you know, had lovers, divorces, deaths, marriages, births. They've lived. They're not rookies. They're not, you know, interns new on earth. They are well seasoned. And, you know, when an intern is wanting support and help, to be able to help you, because that's what they're doing it for. Well, yes, they learn and they grow and they get confidence in themselves. The whole session is about you. And so I know you're vulnerable to share your hurts. I know you feel, you know, challenged to trust others, but if that is you, if you're challenged to trust others, isn't this facing your fears? And email all your interns, check them out, ask them what you've been doing so far. You know, you're on earth too, how often do you come here? You know, have a human conversation with them and find out. I know from lots of clients who are practitioners, you know, doctors in psychology, you know, advanced physics. There's so many people with so many real life experiences where they've lived, and the really valid, good people who have been so brutally awoken, they've left their career of training to now be here for you. Because it's all about you, baby. So anyway, love you guys. Did you know? And I know you know what I'm going to say. So let's just be telepathic here. Did you know that interns are free? Who knows? You could have a diamond in the rough just waiting for a friend like you, who can trust them, who can be vulnerable with them, who can share a cup of tea and laugh and drink water and jazz hands. Finding someone in your community that is like-minded is like finding gold in a human form. in a human meat suit. Find your golden human meat suit, my friends. I love you so much, and I wish you the best of days, because life is amazing and well worth living.